friends, and welcome back to my monthly manga reads. Today I will be talking about all of these manga that I got through in the month of February 2025. As a quick reminder, this is a new series that I am bringing to my channel just so I can keep track of what manga I'm reading, talk to you guys what kind of books and stories you are consuming, as well as just talk about all of the stories that I love so much, and I know probably you do as well. Compared to last month, I did slow down in reading a lot of manga. This is mainly just because I've been extra busy and reading other things besides manga, so I kind of like to have a little bit of a balance. But as for right now, I'm going to be breaking down the books. There will be no spoilers for any of these books ahead. Starting off with the first book that I read this February was Book 6 of Vinland Saga by the author Makoto Yukimura. If you don't know anything about Vinland Saga, let me fill you in really quickly. This is not a synopsis for this book in particular, but kind of the whole story. Basically, we follow a main character whose father has died, and our main character wants to seek revenge on that person who killed his father. And he goes through an incredible journey. I don't want to say too much besides that, but that is basically a quick synopsis of this story. It is such a beautiful story, and I actually just made an entire video breaking down a quote from the author that was stated in this particular book. So I will leave that up there if you were interested, but basically the author talks about why he decided to write about the theme of violence. It's very interesting stuff, so feel free to check it out. If you don't know, I've been absolutely obsessed with Vinland Saga recently, watching the anime, catching up with the manga, which actually I have finally done so far from what is animated, which I'll talk about once I start talking about the next book. But this book takes place between season 2 of the animated series Vinland Saga. Just like the other Vinland Saga books I've read up until this point, there is a lot more within the anime that is not included in the manga, specifically things like backstories and flashbacks that we get a little bit in here, but so much more in the anime. So I love drawing those connections and just seeing what those similarities and differences are. Just like all of this author's books, he has a lot of commentary throughout. Something that I really loved in this book in particular was it kind of broke down some of the weapons of some of the characters. And then of course at the end of the book, there's also a Q&A from fans to the author with the author's response, which I just think is the coolest thing ever. The second manga I read this February was Vinland Saga Book 7 by, of course, our same author. If you're familiar with the anime of Vinland Saga and not so familiar with the manga, know that this is the manga that the anime leaves off on, and so the ending of this one is the ending of season 2 of Vinland Saga. So everything after this is completely new, non-animated content for Vinland Saga, which I am going to be starting to read soon because I don't want to be spoiled and I just want to continue this beautiful story and enjoy all the books have to offer. Again, lots of really great messages from the author in here, as well as some Q&A at the end of the book as usual. There's also some hidden details about certain characters that are not in the anime that was included in the manga, which is super cool. If you're curious to learn more of the Easter eggs from these books and other manga that I read, I am going to be making kind of short reels about them, just to give some insightful videos to those who might be interested that don't actually read the manga. So look forward to those videos that I've actually already been posting about some other manga, and soon for Vinland Saga. The third manga I read this February is the first manga of Soul Eater by the author Atsushi Okubo. If you don't know anything about Soul Eater as a story, let me fill you in with a little synopsis. Basically, there are these kids who are attending an academy to either be a Meister or a weapon. These students that are a weapon are actually capable of turning into a certain weapon, and the Meisters are the ones that wield those weapons. And so these students kind of train and learn how to best take care and defend their world by this matchup. Of course, there's a lot more to uncover, but that is just a quick synopsis. I actually started reading this manga last year after I finished watching the anime, but then never finished it. The reason why I kind of put a hold on continuing this series is because I realized the manga is a lot different than the anime. It shows things that wouldn't really be appropriate to show in the anime. I don't really want to go into examples of that because I don't want to demonetize the video or show anything from this manga, but just know that if you love Soul Eater as an anime, which I do as well, just know that the manga is a bit different. It takes a little bit of a different turn. It sometimes will treat the children characters as adults. This manga has made me feel a little bit uncomfortable at times, and so that's why I put a hold on this. I will say I do love this story, and the reason why I really want to read more of the manga is because the anime actually took a completely different turn than the manga did, and so there's stuff in the manga that just doesn't happen in the animation. So I would love to get to that point of the story, but that means I have to get through everything else that we have seen animated up until that point. The 4th and 5th mangas that I read this February are kind of basically the same thing, just 2 different versions, so I'm gonna be talking about them at the same time. But that is Volume 3 and Volume 4 of Kimitsu Academy. The art and story of these books is actually different than the author who did the original series of Demon Slayer, so not Gotoge, but the author and artist of these books is Natsuki Hakami. They're just so darn cute, and I've already made a couple reels talking about my excitement and love for these fun manga, so super excited for more volumes to come out for these. Both of these books came out recently in America with the translation, and so I just had to pick them up because I absolutely adored volumes 1 and 2. If you don't know anything about these books, basically this is taking place in a non-canon world from Demon Slayer, so nothing is canon in these manga. However, they still follow the same characters and kind of just this chibi world, what could have been without demons in their world. It's all surrounding the setting of a school, so we get to see a lot of our main characters and a lot of our minor characters as students, teachers, things like that, just kind of having a fun time. What I will say about these books is they are so much fun. I love them so much, but if you have not finished reading the Demon Slayer manga, know that there are minor spoilers in both of these books involving different characters and different themes. So just be aware of that. It is very minor from what I've seen so far, but just be forewarned. That is going to wrap it up talking about all of the manga that I read this February. Please let me know in the comments if you have read any of these or what your monthly manga list looked like for this month. I'd say if I had to pick a favorite out of these books that I read this month, it probably would be the Demon Slayer books, just because they make me so happy. They're so exciting. I also love the Vinland Saga books so much, but I've already seen the anime. I kind of knew it was to come. And so I'm more excited to kind of continue this series with the new manga that I have not read yet. As far as my goals for manga that I would like to read in the near future, I am going to be continuing Vinland Saga, starting with book 9 and getting through the rest of the series that is currently written and translated in America. I also really want to continue the story of Hunter x Hunter. I have not read any Hunter x Hunter manga. However, I really do want to pick it up to where the anime left off because I really want to see what happens after that finale. I also still really want to reread the last couple books of Demon Slayer in celebration of the Infinity Castle Part 1 movie coming out soon. So I have a very exciting manga list coming up. As always, I hope you enjoyed this month's monthly manga reads. Please let me know what manga you read this month and which ones were your favorite. I will see you next time. Bye!